All right, this is my third time filming this, but I can feel that this is the one because it's sometimes I'll film a video like this and just not even want to upload it because I'm like, all right, it didn't come across how I really wanted it to. But this is a topic that I think is important enough to where I wanted to redo it a couple of times. Usually these videos are one takes. I just do it while it's on my mind, but I tried to do it just two times right now. In the first couple of minutes, I just caught myself. So instead of giving up on it or wanting to force it super heavily, like the thought I'm about to express to you, I instead wanted to just redo it, take a deep breath, and make it happen. Because ultimately, the goal of this video is to reach someone one way or the other in a positive manner. And right here in my apartment, this is a chair that I like to read in. So for me, I'm not the best reader. It has to be a very interesting story for me to really get into it. Like I can't read let's say a tutorial business book or something like that. But what I do love is reading autobiographies and biographies of people that I feel are, in one way or the other, where I want to be, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually, anything. And right now, what I'm reading is this book. So, Puerto Rican Streets, busy. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I read it a few years ago, but since it's been some time now, I kind of wanted to refresh it, and I remember it being a good book, so I wanted to get back to it. And in, kind of this, I'm still in the beginning sector of it. He's talking about his childhood, his upbringing, and long story short, he was born into an abusive household with a father who was abusive, etc. Shady guy. His mother was raising him, and eventually they got out of that and were living in a different scenario. But he was an outcast where they were living. He was the only black kid. He was held back in school. He wasn't very smart, book smart, etc. And he's talking about the story of where he gets into this new school and he's just getting bad grades. He's failing out. They're calling his mom, etc. And they're trying to figure out how can Mr. David here start getting some good grades. And he's like 8 to 10 years old at this point. And they're like, all right, we're going to put him in a special class. So David says here in this book, they put him in a special class. He shows up there, I assume some kind of tutoring, etc. And he says, one kid's over here with a helmet on, banging his head against the wall. Another kid in the class stood up, pulled his pants down, and peed into a trash can. And he felt like, I just don't belong here. Like, I just need a teacher who can understand how I can learn. And as he was kind of facing this battle and just constantly these obstacles and things throughout his life as a young kid and trying to figure things out, it got to a point where he, to solve the problems of education in school and his bad grades he was getting, he started cheating. Simple alternative, you copy other people's homework. He talks about how he was, looking over at the desk on other kids to, copy their test answers, etc. And through that way, he was able to get his averages up and start getting good grades and not get held back anymore and, keep moving forward. And, it's funny, he talks about one time he got moved to a different school and it was like a test to see like what classes they would place him in. And I guess he copied someone super smart. He's like, they put me in all AP classes, I think getting into like high school. And, as he was on the topic of cheating, the one thing that really stood out to me as he's talking about, I started cheating, but that was me taking the path of least resistance, which is essentially saying that he is taking the easy way out compared to taking the steps that he may have needed to do to, get better grades on his own, whether that's outside studying or a tutor, or who knows what that may have been for him, but something that would allow for him to kind of increase his book smarts and his education level. And I find it funny, kind of the story, and I related it to it because that's what I've done. I'm not in school, I didn't go to college, but throughout middle school I would constantly copy other people's homework, or you're always asking, let me see your homework, and you ideally want to ask someone that gets good grades and not maybe like me, your best friend who's is not getting good grades either. And it was a way that always didn't work, but like I can remember stories of into high school where I only went to high school for 2 years, freshman and sophomore year. And I remember in freshman year, like I would, not gonna name names, but I would like pay. There were some teachers I would pay to like, or you bribe them in a way, or like maybe you don't give them cash, you give them something that they like, that they're like, okay, now like when I'm grading your stuff, like instead of like a 65, maybe I'll round it up and give you like a 78. There's a big difference there. And that kind of helped me average out my grades into those first 2 years of high school. And, sophomore year, I switched to online school because it was at this point I was starting to make a little bit of money, little bits of money. And I really wanted to focus on business stuff. And, I just wanted to, I had to convince my parents. I wanted to drop out. They wouldn't let me. And I'm glad they didn't, honestly, just for the discipline side. But switched to online school. Now, I know damn well I didn't want to do online school. So what I do, I went ahead and bought an extra computer, and I set up the online class stuff there. And I gave it to a girl that I knew. She's somewhat book smart, so I would pay her $150 a week, and she would do all my classwork, all my tests, etc. And this is before they were doing like Zoom classes and stuff like that. It was just purely I forget the name of the websites they use, but where your classes are on there, the teachers would post stuff, and then you're graded, because this wasn't like the lockdown, like over the past couple of years, lockdown school. This was like online school, so it's separate from, you don't have the same teachers, that you have in person. And so that was what I was doing. I was taking the path of least resistance so I could graduate high school. And it was really for my parents more than anything, because they wanted me to graduate high school. And, they wanted me to go to college as well, at least my mom, and I already knew damn well I wasn't going to college. So might as well do this for her and for my grandma. She really wanted me to graduate high school. So I can't say no to my grandma. And, in that case, and far as the schools and stuff, I think it's funny. I think it's fun. I've gotten much more experience out of other things I've done during that time than it would help me to be book smart and do all this tedious work that's not going to really benefit me. And at the end, I almost got screwed, because end of high school, like, all right, your final exams, whatever. I didn't pay attention too much. I had to meet with a counselor every once in a while. We go over my grades, etc. She asked me how I'm doing. I'm like, I'm good grades, whatever, keep doing it. And it got to a point, like I said, with the exams, and she's like, the exams are in person. She's like, you need to schedule it. I'm like, I know this damn girl, she doesn't look like me. She's not going to be able to get into that room and take the exam. So I spent the last 48 hours straight before those exams for all these subjects, like cramming. I was going through every single curriculum on the websites for my online school, and everything I had to do to just kind of learn what I need to do. And for me, my biggest weak link was always math and all these equations and this and that. I was like, man, I can do the subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, but some of this other stuff with all the letters, I don't get it, or the point of it. And obviously some of them have real life scenarios, maybe in design and building, but for me, it's like, fuck, I don't want that. So it was tough, but we ended up passing, and it was great. Got to go to a graduation. Grandma watched me walk the stage, get that whole outfit going, and I've never seen my diploma, but I'm guessing it's somewhere in this world. And now, more importantly about this video is not the story of me talking about cheating on school and David Goggins talking about cheating in school, but more so about taking the path of least resistance. Because literally, after I read right here, I read 10 to 20 pages a day. That's it. And then I went to start my Spanish lessons. I've been doing Spanish lessons for a little over a month, and I don't do it for too long every day. Like today, I was going to do it for 10 minutes and work on a couple of things. And what I noticed is that even subconsciously, I know on this Spanish lesson, sometimes there's a quiz, and on the certain type of quiz that it is, there's always one question that has it's a multiple choice question. No matter what the question is, for some reason this system will always pick the right answer as the bottom answer of the multiple choice. So I kind of subconsciously know that, just kind of in my mind by habit, okay, that's the right one. I don't even need to read the question. I'll press that and it's going to be right 9 times out of 10. And this morning I did that. I saw the question, all right, move on to the next thing. Boom, press the button, didn't even read the question. And it was right. And I was like, oh shit, like, then like the thought in my mind popped up about the path of least resistance. And I think it was just because I related to David's message there, and it kind of stuck in my head, which then instantly right after, like maybe 10 minutes after reading, that happened. And I was like, oh, like the only person that's hurting is me, because why am I taking Spanish lessons? Because I want to be able to, understand and eventually speak Spanish fluently. So by me, even just one little question, going ahead and choosing what I think is the right answer without even actually looking at it is only hurting me, because I'm missing out on the education of that piece right there. And that's where it's more important to me, and where I think you should pay attention to where you may be taking the path of least resistance, is where you're actively working on something that you do want that end result of. So like for school, I didn't give a shit. I didn't care to do that, so someone else did it for me. But for something like Spanish, like I'm only hurting myself. And it's the same thing, like I see people struggle with a lot in terms of like diets and stuff. It's another relatable scenario for me, like in the past, where I was like trying to eat cleaner. I'm like, you know what, like this is like, even though it's like it looks like a candy bar, it says it's healthy, like whatever, it's healthy chocolate, it's still part of the diet, even though deep down I know, like, all right, this is probably not good for me. This is just kind of suiting, my cravings and what I really want, compared to taking the harder, tougher path with more resistance of being completely strict with what I'm doing. And, outside of simple things like diets or like with the Spanish lessons, I also think it happens to a lot of people, and why they don't grow is because that's what they're constantly doing. People like have a job. Again, I'm never going to shit on people that have a job, because I think there's no problem with it. Depending on what your goals are. A lot of people don't have goals, but people will work at a job for a few years and be like, man, like I haven't gotten a raise. Like, why haven't I gotten a raise? Or they're given something so minuscule, and they're questioning, they're looking back, like I've worked here for this long, and this guy's only worked here for 3 months, and he's already got a raise and the bonus and this and that. And the reality when you dive into that is probably that you're taking the path of least resistance. You're going there to work, you're doing the bare minimum that you need to do to get paid, and going day by day. It's like people that any type of job, if you work at a job where you basically just have to, you could sit on your ass and be on your phone for most of the time, and like let's say you're a hotel receptionist at like overnight shift, like a lot of people aren't going to be coming in overnight, so you can go sit behind the desk and take a nap or whatever. Or it's like at this gym I go to over here, there's a new worker now, thankfully, but there was a guy that worked there before who like he was doing the bare minimum. Like he was always sleeping there at the gym, which to me, like, I don't care, as long as like I'm just there to work out. I don't need you to watch me work out. But it's a small gym and kind of private. So the issue was when he started actually not showing up to work, or he's showing up to work a few hours late. I'd go to the gym, it's like a 30-minute walk each way, and he's not there. I have to call up the owner. He's like, I don't know, like whatever. And then I find out the guy's kind of just lacking. So I think this guy, he's taking less than the path of least resistance. He's negative resistance, but I think to make a change and really grow, maybe as an employee in that career standpoint, is to exceed the expectations that your superiors may have. Doing more than you have to do, taking the extra step and incentive to be a more valuable person, because the more valuable you are to the people around you and to the company you may work for is, eventually will be recognized. It might not be recognized for the first weeks or months, I don't know, but over time it has to be recognized, because a lot of people are probably taking the path of least resistance around you as well. And and maybe as an entrepreneur, if you own a business, you may be doing the bare minimum. You say, all right, if I own a retail shop, for example, it's not my thing, but every day I go there at 9 a.m. I open the doors, and then I stay there from 9 all the way to 5 p.m. and I help the customers that come in and we sell, and then I do it every day. But my company's not really growing. Like, we're not making sales compared to taking the extra initiative of whatever, investing into yourself as far as learning, consuming educational content, networking with other people that own similar stores that are successful that you may be able to learn from, or how can I make my storefront more attractive? How can I make the offers inside of here more attractive? What do people want that I do not have? What do I have that people don't want at all? How can I improve on this model and continuously being proactive? And it's not as much of being intense, focused, productive every second of the day, but it's more so actually having the habits down and the discipline to constantly be on a positive trend. Alex Hormozi is a guy, I've been watching this video, it's maybe been over a year now, and read his books and stuff, and like he says, there's no such thing as like a flat line. Like, you're either consistently growing or you're consistently going down, depending on the habits or the things that you're doing every single day, because it's the small consistent actions that add up over time and lead to bigger end results. Yeah, taking the path of least resistance can be kind of funny, like a silly thing as far as like the school situation and cheating there, but as far as like careers and like things you actually want to get better at or achieve a new level in, you need to take that greater path of resistance, or else you will not grow. And if you're not growing, you're going down. So to stay on that positive trend, just continue the habits and discipline going up. And there's a saying that like 3 years ago, when I was kind of like in a darker mental state, like just struggling, like what do I want to do, and like bad habits, like a quote that I saw that kind of stuff to me was called "Progression cures depression," which is I believe is true. When you have something to look forward to, when you see things are moving, you could be working on multiple things, some things are moving, and there are certain things are happening, that's going to keep you much more motivated as far as like waking up, like excited to work on something and see where things are at. Like in an online business world, like I'm excited to launch this project, or when I wake up, I'm excited to be able to look forward to how much sales I've generated today, and how I can optimize and produce better results and build my team and company, etc. Like those are all things that are to look forward to, compared to, I know many people my age, I'm 21 years old, like that are out of high school or maybe in college right now. I'm sure they wake up, I see it with some of my friends that are still in those situations, and they wake up and like they don't have things to do. They may have a job they work sometimes, or maybe they just wake up and they're like, all right, like they don't have something to look forward to, so they just kind of coast through the days, using social media or anything to kind of distract their mind from what the inevitable is. This is where I see a lot of like bad addictions come into play, outside of social media, like alcohol and drug use, which can be a dangerous game to play, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm not gonna drag out this video more. That's kind of my thoughts where I'm at. I think now I've gotten some words out, some creativity out. I feel much better, so I'm gonna go back to my desk, and I think that block I was having is gone. I'm gonna keep working and get to it. But I hope you have a great day, and yeah, I'm gonna keep making these videos and talking about my thoughts. So hope you have a great day. Peace.